Hi, I'm a senior, Jaeyoung, and I'm studying Information Science and Communication.
I'm Ryan. I'm a senior studying human development.
I'm Ellie. I'm also a senior and I'm studying bio.
I'm Nicole. I'm a senior studying computer science.
The most important lesson God has shown or taught you in your time at Cornell?
I think for me, coming into college, I defined my relationship with Christ as something that was very emotion dependent. So I think throughout high school, I would really depend on just the feeling of, feeling good about my relationship with Christ, right? And relying on spiritual highs. And I think that college was a time for me to learn that our relationship with God is not one that is dependent on our emotions, but dependent on our commitment. It's in those moments where we are really tested if we are committed to Christ. And so I think in that regards, just learning to commit to Him even when it was hard to. It's something that I've been challenged to do, and I'm still challenged to do even now.
I think to start, I would say that I was saved at Cornell in my freshman year. I grew up in church at home, so Christianity was never foreign to me, but I don't think I truly saw God as my personal Savior and Lord until my freshman year. And I think that's because of through Bible study for CG. I think when I read the Word and took more time to think about what it was trying to communicate, that's when I felt the most in awe of God and His character. And I really understood for myself what it means when people say God loves you, or like God is sovereign, or like just all these terms I think that were very familiar growing up, but I didn't actually know like what they meant and what that looked like in my personal life.
After experiencing freshman and sophomore year without God, it was very, very unfulfilling. And no matter how hard you try to fill this empty void, if you're not doing things with faith, or if it's not faith-backed, then you're gonna be left feeling empty. And I think a lot of people, they come into the school and they try to put a lot of pressure on themselves, or they go into recruiting, they go into club recruitment, thinking it's based on your actions, when in reality, there's so many things that you can't control, there's so many things that God controls.
I was born into a Christian family, so every Sunday I grew up going to church. But I think for me before college, it was a pretty lonely experience. I think I was very close with my family, so I talked a lot about faith with my family. But I came from a very not normal situation where I went to an international school that was very far away from my hometown. So every Sunday, all of the kids that would come together were from similar neighborhoods. So they all knew of each other, knew of mutuals, or they all hung out with each other during the week or during the weekend. But for me, I just saw them during Sunday, and I think it was kind of hard to build a community. And coming into college, that was something I was really looking for, finding a community within church too. And coming into ER, I think I've been so blessed with finding other people that are also navigating their faith, and just having an open place to talk about your faith.
I think I would categorize my faith journey in 2 words, as I'm so blessed. Actually, that was 3 words. I grew up never ever going to church. I knew the name Jesus, I knew the word Bible, but I didn't know who Jesus was, what the Bible was. I thought it was one book rather than a bunch of them. And I will say, it was really nerve-wracking when I first came to ER. There's probably 40 people, 35 people. It was very small. And so you could imagine someone who's never been to church before going down there and saying hi, my name is Diddy, I've never been here before, can you tell me what this is about? And a lot of you are what? We're so happy to have you. And I cannot emphasize that enough, throughout the years, that sentiment of I'm so happy you're here has never changed.
How did you navigate going through hardships at Cornell? And what role did your faith play in that?
Every year that I've been at Cornell, hardship has looked a little bit different. I'd say maybe freshman year, it was just getting used to a new place, a new environment. I'd say sophomore year, I think I really was challenged academically. Junior year, I think it was a lot of emotional and spiritual lows. And I guess senior year just started, but I'm not very reflective. So I think for that reason, a lot of times I wouldn't even realize how much I was struggling or how much this obstacle was taking a toll on me until after it had all passed, and then my situation was a lot better. If you know that you are, especially when you get busy, are a person to kind of just go through the motions, not take a lot of time to reflect on your situation or even think about why you feel a certain way, I think that has really helped me now.
Jaeyoung, I know that you coming from a background where you were a transfer, what kind of hardships you faced coming in as a transfer, and how has your faith played a role in that?
My first year I spent it at Boston at Northeastern, and it's either people really are excited to come to Cornell and they don't really like their first university, or they really fall in love with it and have a hard time kind of letting go of their first year university and starting fresh. And I think I was part of the latter. With all of my Boston friends, I told them I'm gonna be coming back next semester, but during the summer plans changed and I ended up going to Cornell without saying a goodbye to them. I think most of my first friendships were just between transfer people, so I kind of felt like I was trapped within a bubble, and it was hard to kind of go out of that transfer circle to make actual friendships. But something I learned from that is there's a reason why I came here, and so once I kind of let go of the comparison of oh my gosh, my friends are doing this, but why am I at cocktail 3 a.m. studying doing this? This is not really talking about transfer specifically, but I have a hard time sharing my burdens with other people. But something that God has kind of comforted me in is He's someone that knows everything about me, so I don't have to explain for myself, and also He absorbs every emotion, feeling, thought that I have and is able to recognize it for what it is.
One night, a period of my life where I literally slept over in cocktail lounge on the sofa. You're wondering what is all this for? What am I doing here? Is this even worth it at the end of the day? And you start having questions, you start having existential crisis, and you're why am I studying what I'm studying? Why do I even want the job? Do I even want to do X, Y, and Z? And you just start to second guess yourself. I think I would wake up and I would dread the day. I did not even want to wake up. It would be wake up, work the whole day, maybe one human interaction. When that goes on and on and on, and your life starts to blur and become mundane, and you just don't understand what the point is you're doing anymore, you just spiral. One semester, that's when God came into my life. That's when I met really good friends. That's when I came into ER. And as long as you're a student here or you're here right now, there's always another chance. You just have to be patient and wait for it and really seek it out. There's always ways for God to kind of wiggle His way into your life and show you that things are so much better.
What is everyone's favorite retreat memory?
In our sophomore fall semester, when our class danced.
Our most recent retreat, we were playing games, and we were all in a circle huddling up. Sam lost for one of the games, and I think he had to act like a frog or something, or act like an animal or something around. And I think it was just those silly moments that you can also just come together as friends, but also just talk about faith.
By the way, if you want to see the dance, actually I realized it's on Rachel Chaw's vlog, our YouTube channel, if you want to see the dance.
Jake, Robin, Josh, and Lucas, we were supposed to talk about the questions, but we decided we needed a break to massage each other and break our backs.
Should I go to retreat? And so why should I go to retreat?
You should 1000% go to retreat. Okay, going to retreat was my first introduction to ER. I went to Earth once, and everyone in my group was gonna go to retreat. And I was just I guess I could go. And when I went to retreat, there's just so many unknown faces, and it was mega scary because I've never seen these people before. But going to retreat was the way you first get to know everyone. I think after I went to retreat and I had such a good experience, and when my small group leader prayed for me, it really made sense of so many things to me. And not only did I experience God, but also after, I just wanted to keep coming back. I just wanted to keep coming to Earth, keep coming to ER.
For retreat, the whole purpose is to kind of take a break from Cornell, from Ithaca, and just find some rest. We do usually have guest speakers too.
Through retreat, you are paired off in small groups with random people. You just sit next to like new people all the time, so I think it's good ways to have conversations and meet new people. And my roommate was actually Nicole, so we had I think before retreat, like I didn't really know her, but during retreat and like living in the same room as her, we were able to really grow like a stronger friendship, which I really valued.
You know, we all struggle with maybe doing our QTs or, you know, working on our relationship with Christ daily, and I think that that's often a result of our busyness as students, but I think that retreat is a time for us to get away from that and have the opportunity to do QT, do worship, and do praise, and pray for one another, and I think that's a valuable time for us to get to know God, get to know how we can better love and serve Him. And
Like as a guy, I feel like a lot of guys, we don't really like talk about how we feel. And you know, spaces like retreat are like a getaway, not just from like Cornell and your academics, but a lot of times you bottle up all these emotions that you have in this campus. But when we have those like late night debriefs, or even those like when classes bundle together and split off into pairings and everyone truly comes together and shares what they've been going through, those are like one of the rare moments I see like some of my closest friends like cry or actually share what they've been going through. And I'm not saying like go to retreat if you want to see your boys cry, but like go to retreat if you want a place where you can fully and like express yourself and feel safe and know that the person hearing it will be there to support you, and that you will be supporting those that you care about too.
How have you been able to boldly proclaim your faith to other believers, but also specifically to non-believers?
Because they know I'm Christian, I think a lot of my friends around me either grew up Christian but then ended up not going to church at college, or they like know about God but they don't really like, they still have a lot of doubts to commit to faith. So because I'm committed to church, I'm thankful that they actually bring up God, Christian faith first to me, understanding where their doubts come from and proving why I still believe despite them having doubts, helped me kind of push myself to find a answer that non-believers could also believe in.
Gently explaining things or saying what you believe, and also admitting that you don't know things yet, because that's completely okay. And there are so many things that us as Christians, no matter how many years you study or how many hours you like read different commentaries and books, like there are just some questions that we don't know the answers to. So being able to admit that as well.
I think through seeing me kind of change over the year, and like being more peaceful and being more like grounded and just being like my friend literally said the other day, like, oh Nicole, like you're a D1 chiller now. Basically being a chiller in all these years when I was used to be super stressed as a person has really gotten them to ask more questions about faith, and they now, since they see me and since we're a reflection of God and we want to be as close to Him as possible, if we embody that, people will naturally be attracted to us, and then that's when you can bring them into church and ask them and answer their questions. It's kind of scary at first to evangelize to non-Christians, right? It's like God has signs of when it's good for you to approach, or God will show you that, hey, I think now is a good time. For example, I was in an Uber and it was like 12 a.m. and I was so tired. The Uber driver was so tired, and I just felt God like saying like, yo Nicole, like you should talk to this Uber driver, like you should say that you're a Christian and you should talk about church with him. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like I'm so tired, God. Like, but you know, if the Uber driver talks to me first, which never happens, like they never talk to me first, then I might like bring it up. I might ask like, oh, are you Christian, whatever. And surely enough, like 3 seconds after I thought that, the Uber driver asked, hey, how are you? And I was like, oh shoot. Like now I guess I gotta like, you know. And it turns out he was Christian, and having that be like my first experience like evangelizing to someone I don't know, and having that person be Christian too was such like a confidence boost. So I definitely think like don't ignore signs.
if you don't know, I really like soccer. For me, along with some of the sophomore guys, we created a church soccer team. I think all throughout high school, when I did play soccer competitively, I always pondered how I could serve and glorify God through, this passion and through this sport. I realized that this is a way to bring, the brothers and sisters together through, this common passion that we all have. I think that in itself was a form of outreach for me during the past couple of years. And
What advice would you give to your underclassmen self?
Setting up even just like intentional time to be more reflective, recharge yourself, and spend individual time with God too. So
just listen to God's voice. I think in our lives there are many voices in our head. There's voices of other people, whether it's the standards that people around us have set for us, or there's our own voice telling us this or that. And I think I would tell my younger self to, while those voices are, can be helpful and can lead you on the right path, ultimately it's God's voice who will lead you in the right direction. Really put God's voice above those other voices, whatever.
Not everything is up to you. There's like 10,000 factors you can't control. And the sooner you realize that you can prepare all you want for something, or you can do as much as you think is possible, but at the end, everything is up to God. Just pray about it and let His plan unfold.
Don't be afraid of change. I think coming into college, I realized a lot of things change, whether it's friend groups, or just relationships. Sometimes I'm like, oh, she changed, but I'm still the same. How come everyone around me is changing? They're all leaving me, that type of mentality. But I think I felt more comfortable with change and was more accepting of change. And also, don't dwell too much in the past and accept your present, where you are right now. Focusing on your current self and making that current state better, I think, is something I learned.
That's it for our senior panel. First ever, by the way.